Hello and welcome to Troglotech's T850 fully automatic cable drum. Yes, it does look just like a manual drum, but it has a motor, a gearbox and electronics, and the only external difference is this handle, which is the mode selector for the cable drum. And in normal use it's just left in auto. So let's start the system up by pressing the on-off switch. Tractor starts to initialize, works out where the head is and then points it straight forwards, and the whole system's ready to use. So we're in auto. All we need to do is press forward. Cable drum will release the tension from the cable and allow the crawler to pull it off the drum. In this mode, the cable drum's always providing tension on the cable, and it will servo its motor to provide less or more tension, the aim being that there's the minimum amount of tension on the cable to keep it taut and safe. So there we go, the crawler's gone off to do its thing, and we can just press stop. Cable drum will stop, and then we can rewind the cable just by pressing reverse, and in that mode the automatic cable drum will just spool in the crawler. The speed of the crawler and the drum are servo together, again to provide a decent amount of tension on the cable. So yeah, it's all fully automatic. Okay, what about the situation where you need just a bit of cable out, if you want to get it down a manhole or something? Let's stop the cable drum. What we can do is just grab hold of the cable and we can pull it off the cable drum. Again, the motor runs. It's always looking for the amount of tension on the cable. Okay, so we stop pulling the cable, motor stops. Okay, we've got the crawler in the manhole and we let it down there. When we let go of the cable drum will then servo the drum until it pulls all the tension, pulls all the kinks out of the cable. And there we go, the cable's taut and the system's ready to use. So we can reverse in if we want, or in this situation we'd go out. Don't go any speed, of course, same as always with the crawler system. The longer you press the button, the faster the crawler goes. As you can hear, it can go pretty fast. And if we want to slow down, we press the slow button and we can servo to a very slow speed indeed. Right, let's come back in again. And you heard when I pressed the stop button that the cable drum put a bit more tension on the cable, ready to pull the crawler back in. Okay, so it's going to reverse. Medium speed. Crawler's coming back in. So the operator has had to do nothing apart from control the crawler. The drum is all fully automatically controlled. There you go, that's coming in towards the coiler, the cable drum. And we can do that at any speed we like, set by the speed controls. So let's slow it down a bit. There we go, in crawl mode now. Very slow speed. And of course the cable drum will always provide tension to the cable and to safely return the crawler. Okay, let's press stop. Okay, so that's the fully automatic modes. There's a couple of other modes as well, which is useful for when you're setting the system up. Well, let's switch off. Right, that's the whole system switched off, and we can disconnect the crawler. Okay, notice that the cable returned to the drum, because the cable's always under tension. Right, this time what we'll do is put it into tension mode. So pull the lever towards us, that's tension, switch the system on. Now what the drum will do, as you can hear the motor's running, always provide a certain amount of tension on the cable, useful for setting up. So if the cable's got too much tension on, it lets some cable out. You can hear the motor running. It does this quite slowly. Let's pull a bit of cable out. There we go, and that's all fully automatic. So I've got the cable end here. Now once I've connected and everything, I can just let go of the cable, and when I let go of the cable drum will then put tension back on it again. So here we go, there goes the cable, always providing tension on the cable. It will head towards the cable drum till it reaches the cable guide, which of course will provide more tension on the cable, and then the motor will stop. So in this mode you can hear the motor running. Here comes the cable, wait till it reaches the cable guide. So all these operations are automatic. Tension is provided on the cable and then the motor stops, all automatically. So that's useful for setting up. And for transportation there's a third mode, which is drum lock. And that actually locks the motor. So the cable drum's still got about a third of a turn to allow you to move the cable and so on, where the motor just doesn't turn. So we're disengaged from the motor from that point to about a third of a turn in the other direction. Let's look at a situation where, let's say the crawler has failed, which we haven't had one that's failed yet, or the battery is completely exhausted. And it does give you 30 minutes warning of an exhausted battery, so we should never be in this situation. But what I do is, we're now in fully auto mode. What I can do is I'll disconnect the battery on the crawler. It's probably the easiest thing to do, and then we can pretend that something's gone wrong with the crawler. Okay, there we go. Right, I pulled the battery back on the crawler. Okay, so I've disabled the crawler. There it is, all the way up there. What can we do about that? Well, first of all, just switch the system off. Put the drum into drum lock. There we go. Switch the system back on again. Now we have full manual control of the drum. So what I can do is lift the arm, and the cable drum motor, you can hear it running, put tension on, and even with a completely dead crawler, we can bring it in safely, or bring it in quickly if we wanted. Here we go, here comes the crawler back. So this is the situation where you've either completely exhausted the crawler battery, or we've had some sort of failure, and as I say, we haven't had one of those yet. And you just safely bring the crawler back in under the speed control, so I can slow down if we want. There we go, slowing the motor down, and then release the handle. Crawler's safely back, cables all back on the drum again. We can switch the system off. And if it was an exhausted battery, yeah, we can just put another battery on there. Let's do that. That's the new battery fitted. System back on, back to auto, and we're ready for operation again. It really is as simple as that. So by hitting the forward button, off goes the crawler. The drum removes tension from the cable, just keeps a small amount of tension off, and there again, we're off again.